This time I'm with an incredibly innovative company making aluminum cans called Canovation. So, Dan, Jeff, why don't you guys tell me a little bit about Canovation? What is it?
Well, see, we're a South-based Florida IT engineering company for packaging, and we've come up with an innovative design that's an all-metal, resealable design for cans that we patented worldwide.
And we think that in the way of rigid packaging, at least, it's definitely a breakthrough. It's definitely a significant contribution. And we're really confident that it will address a lot of the ecological issues that we're faced with because of plastics, and then also add value to both the consumer and the industry at large across the full value chain.
Well, let's dig into that just a little bit more, right? So why is Canovation important to the beverage industry and to the consumer? Like why should somebody be paying attention to what you guys are doing?
Well, I think really when you look at innovation, you take us up from a macroscopic level, right? What is it that drives innovation in the industry? I think obviously the consumer is, at the end of the day, the final say on whether something's going to be successful or not. So the consumer experience needs to be there, but that's just one driver. These brands, they're looking for a marketing differentiator, something that'll make them stand out on the shelf. That's two. You also have legislation and things that make it so that they're mandated to make certain changes. The European Union just finished seeing something that goes down that line with the tethering of caps. I don't think any brand out there wanted to go ahead and do that and go through the expense. And I don't think consumers really care for those tethered caps either. Obviously, because we are all in business, Canovation included, we're looking for economics. A business case, some sort of profit to be gained. So innovation is many times driven by that. That's four. And then finally, and this is trite now in the current state of affairs, sustainability, ecology. A lot of times we were really happy with the innovations that we put forth as engineers, as companies, but we're so gung-ho with creating growth that we turn the blind eye to the ecological side of things. And I think, at least with plastics, it's becoming abundantly clear that something must be done, at least to address the use of single-use plastics.
Yeah, that's why we're really excited about what we're bringing forth on Can Reseal, is that it hits all five of those drivers. And that's really something that hasn't been done in the metal packaging space for decades, if ever.
Or any.
At really one point in time, we've never come across where it hits all five of those, or even more than two at one point over the last couple hundred years that cans have been around.
Or any other type of material for that matter.
Yeah. Well, and that's it, right? You can't just go down just the lane of making money. You can't go down just the lane of sustainability, and really that you guys are looking at all five of those factors. I think that's super important. So help me understand a little more. When I got your samples of the resealable cans, like, I think they're awesome. There's already aluminum bottles that are currently out in the market that are resealable. How is this going to be any different than those?
Well, there's a lot of differences and similarities. One of the big things in terms of similarity, obviously, is that you get the resealability that you're accustomed to dealing with a bottle. The big thing that Can Reseal really offers is on the economic side and on the sustainability side. It's a lot less aluminum than what an aluminum bottle is required to have in order to incorporate the threads on there. And because of that additional aluminum cost, it's also more expensive. And it's also, in terms of processing these cans, we're still using your standard can the way that you know it today. We're adapting our technology to that by providing a ring end that is seamed onto the can, and then effectively a closure that screws into it. So if you're a brand, you continue to buy the same cans that you're accustomed to, and we don't really interfere or change how that action happens. They basically create an aluminum bottle on their line with our technology.
Stated another way, and it's in our branding, we call the technology a can, a bottle, and a cup. So the reason why it's a can is, yes, it might look like a can, but I think what's important here is that cans, beverage cans specifically, take advantage of decades worth of optimization. So we're taking advantage of the efficiencies, the built-in efficiencies and low cost of can manufacturing by making the ring and enclosure cap component, like Jeff pointed out, in order for you to fabricate the world's lightest and least expensive all-metal resealable aluminum bottle. So that's where you get the can and the bottle component of our branding here. And then finally, it's a cup, because you're effectively screwing off the top of your can, right? So if you really think about it, that hole you're left with is larger than any other beverage container that's commercially available today. And in fact, that thing is big enough for you to add ice, garnishes, or just, gosh, drink your IPA straight from the can the way it was meant to be.
There you go. Awesome. Well, then that kind of leads me to another question, right? So a lot of beverage containers, are made of either multiple different types of plastic or maybe a couple different types of metal. Tell me about like the actual material composition of these cans. Obviously, they're all aluminum, but what else can you tell me about it?
Yeah, one of the unique things that people don't realize is that there's two different alloys that go into your standard beverage can today. And that does have an implication for the recycling of the can itself. It does allow for that to be recycled back into the can body, but the ends that you're accustomed to, your pop top that requires a lot of virgin material to be put back into it to get the properties of that 5000 series alloy that is produced from. So effectively, it's not possible or even feasible today to have 100% recycled content can. So that's what we deal with today with our technology, because we don't need the pop top, the tab on it. We don't need the score incision. We effectively are using the same material that the can body itself is, which is the 3000 series alloy, which means that now that our components can be made from 100% recycled content, and hence providing 100% recycled content can.
That's so cool. So because you are a single alloy, that really gives you a lot more flexibility. It gives the can manufacturers a lot more flexibility to make fully, made can out of recycled materials. That's absolutely awesome. So last question, when can we hope to see some Canovation cans out in the marketplace, and where might we want to look for those first?
So now the real way to answer that question is it depends. And that's a terrible way to lead into these things. We are the box your product comes in. So we're not selling fizzy drink or some sort of beer.
There's no Canovation cola just yet?
Exactly. And so while we are excited about this can, what we really need to do is continue on with the great traction we've been gaining with the full value chain, including the brands in the space. And we're not stopping when it comes to the development of these parts, working along with all of our industry partners. We're looking to have something that's commercially viable within the next 12 to 18 months. Of course, the scheduling, the location, the way this is introduced to the public will be driven by the brands, whoever is involved at that juncture. But yeah, that is the window that we're counting on, 12 to 18 months.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for your product. I know, like I said, the first time where I got one in my hand and saw the videos that you guys have on your website, it's really mind-blowing. And just like you said, it's the innovation that takes us into the future. And I love how you guys are innovating this important space with a very important material. So thank you guys for joining, and can't wait to see one of these out there in the real world sometime soon. Okay?
Really great. Thanks, Tim.
Cheers.
All right.
Thanks,
See you later.